Surprise! We are at the end of the season. Welcome back to Boston Bruins franchise mode here at Dreams Gaming. This is Private Penne, and I have some unfortunate news and some good news. We'll start with the bad news, is that when I recorded this episode, the audio was messed up by the end of the video. Well, it actually messed up for most of the video, and it is something that I'm not sure how to fix. It's just a matter of keeping an eye on it as I'm recording, which I did not do. I got a new microphone, and I figured that was the problem. It is not. I'll have to figure out what the problem is, but I don't know. Point is, the when I recorded this episode the first time, the audio was messed up, so I had to delete it. And I didn't want to go back and redo the season because I thought we had a really interesting end of the season. So we left off already messing up 1 video or 1 minute. Oh my god, already messing up 1 minute into this video multiple times. So we're gonna go back to the All-Star game, which is where we left off. We were on an absolute tear. We'd won 7 straight, and we'd won 11 of our last 12. We were 11-1 heading into the All-Star break in our last 12. And after that, we simmed to the trade deadline, and it was a very, very rocky month. We couldn't win more than 2 straight, and we just had losses scattered all the way throughout. So we lost a couple games to Winnipeg there, beat the Rangers a couple times, just wins and losses all over the board. So headed into the trade deadline, leading up to this game at the Sharks, and I looked at our team, looked at our points, decided that we were still headed in a positive direction, and I liked where we were at and where we were headed, so I didn't want to make any trades. Our team was having, we didn't really have a hole anywhere on the team is what I'm trying to get at. There wasn't really any spot where I was like, we're really hurting there, I need to trade for somebody to fix our problems. So we didn't miss any trades, didn't miss any signings, didn't miss any roster changes, but what you guys did miss were a few line changes. And I didn't get into those quite yet. So we started out after the trade deadline, after I decided we were fine. We lost our next 4 games in regulation, and we had a shootout loss. And we got 1 win, and lost 2 more, got another win, lost 2 more. So after these 2 losses, I decided we needed to do something. Something was wrong with our lines, and one thing I found was that our second line, while it was putting up massive points, I believe it was Sedin, Krejci, and Josh Hosang, they were putting up crazy points, but they were also pretty hefty minus players. So I decided to make some changes, and I will show you guys what those look like, what the new lines look like right here. I'm going to go to Edit Lines. What I'm going to do is show you guys these lines. So we made massive changes in the top 9. We left the 4th line the same. I thought they played fine. They're minus players, but we don't want to really put them into an expanded role, and we didn't want to bring up anybody to fill in their spot. We could have brought up Frank Vetrano or Dominic Moore if we wanted to, but I decided not to. Just leave them like they were. So what we did was I looked a little bit at the players, their locker room chemistry, to see who they liked playing with. And Rantanen likes. It turns out everybody on the team likes David Pastrnak. If you go through, he's pretty much on everybody's list. As you see right here, best locker room chemistry for Hosang is Pastrnak. Same for Connor. He's on Riley Nash's list. He's on Zaka's list. He's on Krejci's list, Rantanen's list, and so like half of our forwards want to play with Pastrnak, but we put him with Rantanen and Krejci. So we move back us up to the first line, move Pastrnak down to the second line. Krejci and Pastrnak have pretty good chemistry, according to the game, so we put them together, and then we also brought up Rantanen to play alongside those guys, and we did that because we wanted Josh Hosang and Daniel Sedin to play together, as they had been playing together on that second line and were playing well, and they also have pretty good locker room chemistry. So we wanted Sedin and Hosang together on a line, and we did not want to move them to the first line because we want to keep Marchand and Bergeron together. So So we really just have a bunch of pairs, and we're just trying to piece together the third guy for each of those lines. So Tyler Johnson is our third line center. He didn't move anywhere. And Rantanen is the only guy that got like a significant upgrade. He went from the third to the second. Backus went from the second to the first. And a couple other guys had downgrades. So fourth line stayed the same. Defense stayed the same. Everything else stayed the same except for our forward 5-on-5 lines. And I'll show you guys how we closed out the season. We obviously finished 43-30-9, and we made the playoffs. We ended up second in our division, 1 point behind the Montreal Canadiens. So we were right here against Detroit, and we rattled off 3 of our next 4, and another one against Detroit, and then we lost 3 of our last 5. And if we would have gotten 2 more points in our last 3 games, we would have won. I mean, I don't know why the NHL scheduled us 3 games in 3 days. Those assholes, they wanted us to lose. But if we would have won one of those games, we would have beaten the Montreal Canadiens and our obviously our arch rival in real life. And since they stole Kevin Shattenkirk from us due to the fact that he didn't believe we were in a spot to win, we really wanted to win the division. And I simmed that game for the video for you guys. And first period it was tied 1-1. Second period they went up 2-1. In the third period we spent most of it on the penalty kill, and we could not pull out a win, or even we could not pull out even a point in overtime. So looking at these stats, team stats, our goals for is 272, goals against 255. So what was interesting about this season, both of those numbers were insanely low to start the season, and then as we started winning more games, we saw that goals for going up while our goals against was staying the same. And then as we went on a little bit of a slump there in the middle after the All-Star break, and what happened was our goals against was coming back up, and Tuukka Rask wasn't playing as well. So those numbers, both of those ended up coming up over the course of the season. Power play came up a little bit, up to 21%. That's pretty average, maybe a little bit above average. And then our penalty kill went down a little bit to 84%. That was as high as 86%. And at one point during the season, I came in here, looked at our last 10, and we were 2-6-2. I wanted to throw up a little bit. Good thing I didn't. Otherwise, I probably would not be recording this right now. But we ended up 6-3-1 in our last 10 games this season to end up in that second playoff spot. 1 point behind Montreal. Kind of stings a little bit. They are turning out to be a thorn in our side for these first 2 seasons. If we'd had Shattenkirk, I guarantee we would have destroyed them in the division. But looking at our points, the big takeaway here that I had was we had 4 guys with 60-plus points, 6 guys with 50-plus points, 8 guys with 40-plus points, and then 10 guys with 30-plus points. I need some water. All right, and we mix and matched our lines all season, so it's tough to really look at these numbers and say, oh, the first line was really dominant this season, or the second line outperformed expectations. So we can't really look at that until since we mix and match those guys all season long. They didn't really have line mates for the whole year. But our power play goals were pretty spread out. David Backus surprisingly led the way there. We got shorthanded goals from Krug and McAvoy. McAvoy was kind of disappointing in the point category, but as a +2, I guess we can't really argue. EA kind of underestimates his offensive ability. He's really more of a legit two-way defenseman, but the game has him listed as a two-way defenseman, but his offensive stats are pretty lacking. As I burp again, I have had the burps. It is insane. Oh, there's another one. My goodness, I wish I could just not do that while I'm recording these videos. Ugh. That's not what I wanted. Let's go to Tuukka Rask. Look how he did this season, and Hudobin. Rask was a 229 GAA and a 923 save percentage. So those numbers, they went down a little bit, but like we said, it's probably just like the Bruins did in real life with the firing of Claude Julien and the hiring of Bruce Cassidy. We probably took more chances on offense to try to get more scoring chances, and in doing that, we gave up more scoring chances. So we score more and get scored on more is basically the theme there. And what we're going to do now is go through the league and look at the stats around the league, see if we can predict some trophy winners for this season. And one thing I noticed about this season when I went through this the first time in the recording that got deleted, still salty about that. It was a low-scoring season across the NHL. As you can see here, only 3 guys were point-a-game players in Sidney Crosby, Jamie Benn, and Patrick Laine. 91, 86, and 83 were good enough to lead the league. And we didn't have any guys close to this top list. We didn't have any guys close to the top 20. But I guarantee you, if you look at guys that are like 60+ points or 50+ points, we have more than we should. We have more than our fair share of guys in that list. We got Krejci and Bergeron up there in the high 60s. I was trying to make some point there, but I failed at doing that. So looking at the trophies, Crosby is probably going to win. Well, he's going to win the Art Ross, obviously. Probably going to win the Hart. Probably going to win the Ted Lindsay. Usually I just give that to the guy with the most points in this game. And the Rocket Richard is not going to Alex Ovechkin. Just kidding. It is. Big surprise. He gets back on top of the Rocket Richard and on top of the goal scoring leaderboard after his 1-year rendezvous. That's not the right word, but I'm using it anyways. After his 1 year off from winning that award, I believe Tarasenko won it, and he is way down here at 32 goals. A shocking name on this list is Nazem Kadri for the Leafs. Put up 38 goals and had 27 assists for 65 points. That's a little bit surprising to me. And yeah, other than that, pretty much your usual suspects, as I need to talk slower, otherwise I will keep messing things up. And I believe the Norris Trophy is going to go to Erik Karlsson with 77 points, beat Suter in pretty much every single category, and once again also had the most points, so the game will probably give the award to him. And now looking at goalies, who's going to win the Vezina? Is Tuukka Rask going to win the Vezina? If it'll ever load, let's see. Rask is not up there in wins, but he is going to be up there in the goals against average, as he had the best GAA among full-time starters, but his save percentage probably wasn't. Let's see, Quick. Yeah, so just Quick and then Rask. So he has a chance. He wasn't up there in wins. Like 10 guys above him in wins, but he had the better stats than those guys all season long, and he played fewer games than everyone above him on this wins list. So Tuukka Rask has a chance at the Vezina, has a chance at the Jennings. We will see if he can win those awards after the playoffs, after we are either eliminated or after we win the Stanley Cup. Hopefully it's the second one. But here, looking at the rookies, looking at the Calder Trophy race, Matthew Barzal is going to win the Calder with 60 points. Maybe they'll give it to Ho-Sang. Who knows? He's 5 points behind our guy, and then Strome 5 points behind him. We also had Kyle Connor on this list, but he is way down here at 19 points. I believe he was the only other rookie that we had. And then goalies, there was one goalie that performed pretty well, and it's here, Eric Comrie. 23 wins in 34 games with a pretty good GAA and a pretty damn good save percentage. Although he needs to take a picture where he's not staring into my fucking soul. So we're going to go to Bebo and look at him while we talk a little about the rookie goalies. So I accidentally went to his picture again. So if Comrie would have played a full season as a starter, I believe he probably would have won, or he definitely would have had a chance at winning the Calder. Don't know the last time a goalie won the Calder, but Comrie might have had a chance. Take a quick glance at the AHL. I was about to say, we got like the top 5 guys in the AHL for points, and then I realized it was only on Providence. Vetrano, 69 points in 74 games. Moore was pretty good. Mueller, who's not even a roster guy, EA just added him onto our team without a contract. Achari Heinz, I believe. Ropadope, that's his name. His name's Ropadope. Zarnik, DeBrusk, and JFK. JFK is a 78 overall, and DeBrusk is a 77, but they're not putting up too many points, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. So let's just go take a look around the AHL. So this video is going to be longer because I simmed half of a season, but we're not getting that. That is gone. So we see Vetrano top 5 in the AHL in points. DeBrincat tore it up as a 76 overall. My goodness. It was Ty Ratty, Tyler Mott, and Philip Sandberg. So that's the top line right there for the Rockford Ice Hogs. 3 of the top 4 scorers in the AHL. A couple of Chicago Wolves up there. And that's about it in terms of notable players. So that's going to be it for this video. Unfortunately, you guys could not see the season. I'm really disappointed about the audio fucking up on the video, on the first recording, that is. And so our playoff opponent is the Buffalo Sabres. I'm going to wrap up the video here. We'll get into simming this first playoff series and looking at the Buffalo Sabres next video. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. We definitely appreciate your support here at Dreams Gaming, and leave comments below. Definitely enjoy reading those. Obviously, any sort of criticisms you have, suggestions, things you want to see me do with the series, leave that below. I will take it into consideration. And so yeah, we made the playoffs for the first time in our Dreams Gaming franchise mode. Tune in next time to see how they go and see if we can end this Year 2 season with Zdeno Chara lifting the cup for a final time in his Hall of Fame career. See you guys next time.